grumpiness to the internet, and welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream where you get an extra side helping today of, I know I've done it before, but peach cobbler. That just sounds good right now. That this first thing popped to mind. My mom used to make the best peach cobbler.
Oh, my mom was more for making apple pies.
With me today, as you can tell, is Maddie. Say hello, Maddie.
Hey, hello there.
And my special guest today, you know her from chat, now know her live and in person, Jen T. Maxey.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
I'm kind of cosplaying as Mike from Canmore at the moment. Epic memories.
Jen and I know each other fairly well from my top secret Discord that I have that nobody knows about. And I haven't been on for like ever. And playing a lot of games together. We've played a lot of 7 days and a lot of art together. So, yeah. I hope everybody out in chat is having a good day, a good Tuesday.
Oh my God, Clinton just reminded me of the Electric Company growing up. That kid's show that started with, "Hey, you guys!"
Yep. Yep. I remember the Electric Company. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm a little busy today. For those of you that don't know, J Kid, my son, gets married tomorrow, so I'm doing all the stuff today that I need to get ready. You know, gotta cut
to him.
Yeah, gotta cut my hair and trim my beard, and gotta take a bath. It's that time of the month, and I found one pair of dress pants. I thought I was gonna have to go to Wally World and buy some clothes because I've got fat since the last time that that I've had to dress up, but I found one pair of dress pants that will fit. I just got to get them pressed, and a decent shirt, and which is hard for me because I'm such a slob. All my shirts have burn holes and stuff in them, and but yeah, I got to get them all washed and pressed and ready to go by tomorrow. But yeah, he gets married tomorrow at 3:00, I think, Eastern time. I think I'd have to look. But got that going on.
See, now my question on that one is due to a story that you once told me about, like, culturally how you guys react to weddings up where you are. And I was sitting here like, so you know how we do it up here, and I know other places do it too. It's usually through picture humiliation.
Yeah.
Well, you can meme. You're a meme grandpa, right? So.
Right. Well, I'm not a young man anymore. Those wedding shenanigans are for a much younger person. So.
Well, see, that's the thing with memes is they're easy and they're cheap. You can do it on your seat.
Yeah, I mean, gone are the days where I remember at one wedding, me and a bunch of guys took the groom's car and took all the tires off of it and put it on blocks out in the parking lot. So when him and his bride went to leave, they couldn't leave.
She must have been so mad at you.
Yeah, well, I had one cousin that before the wedding, he had me, and I wasn't the best. I was a groomsman or something. I don't remember. Anyway, he said, I do not want, because he had a new car, I don't want my car painted up. Because that was our thing, was to take white shoe polish and, mark all over their car. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't listen. And he knew it was me because the wedding photographer caught me in the act. and that picture was in their wedding album. Me painting their car. He was so mad at me. Oh, well.
I'm kidding.
Anyway, before we get going on anything else, I do want to bring up a couple of things real quick before I forget. Second, I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know how it's going to work out. But there may be a day that I'm without power and internet here pretty soon. Not because the bill isn't paid, but they've been dropping off brand new telephone poles all along the street and even down the alley behind my house. So they're going to be replacing all the poles. And I'm not sure how they're going to do that without cutting our power, at least for a short time. So there's that. Be aware if just suddenly out of the blue, I'm not here. I probably don't have power. Not sure how they're going to do that. I don't see any way that they can replace the poles without cutting the power for a period of time. And then the other thing, I got a phone call today from the hospital system that I had my surgery through and that my doctor's through and everything. It's here in my state. It's a big hospital system. It's IU Health is what it is, Indiana University Health. And it runs a lot of huge hospitals, including Methodist, which is a nationally known hospital.
Yeah.
If a football player gets hurt while they're here in the game, seriously hurt, while they're here playing the Colts, they go to Methodist Hospital. If a race car driver in the Indy 500 gets injured, they go to Methodist Hospital. You know, that kind of it's. But anyway, I get a call from this lady, and they are running a research program for people with my specific disease, peripheral arterial disease. And they want me to, they've done a little survey, and they want me to take part in the research program. And there's a lot involved. I'll have to go visit them on several occasions and so forth, you know, and everything. But the main thing is they've got these pants. She's explained it to me. They're pants, and somehow warm water circulates through these pants, and I have to wear them 90 minutes a day. And then keep a log on how I feel, right? But the cool part is that they're going to pay me $500 to do this. So
Ooh.
I'm like, because I'm listening to her talk, and the whole time I'm thinking, okay, what's this going to cost me?
Right.
And it's not going to cost me anything. They're going to pay me $500 to do it. And it may make me feel better. Who knows?
Cool.
We'll see. So,
Well, hopefully it does.
Yeah, I was just sitting here playing my single player Ark when the phone rang, and nobody ever calls me unless it's a bill collector or somebody trying to sell something. And unfortunately, it aggravates me, but I have to answer every call, because I never know what phone number they might call from if something happens to my dad. You know, he's in that home and so forth.
Yeah.
So I have to answer every call, even if my phone says scam likely, because I know that sometimes those calls aren't scam calls. It picks up calls that aren't. But anyway, I thought that was interesting and kind of good news. I mean, yeah. Jake Thompson, $500 to wear pants that gives you the warm feeling, just like you peed your pants. Yeah, a feeling I know well at my age. Yeah.
Kyler Bad Dog, sit down and hush. She's a puppy. She hasn't quite learned that yet. All she knows is mommy needs to pay attention to me, and it's fetch time.
And that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about it. Warm water flowing through the pants I'm wearing for 90 minutes. Now, you all know I can't make it through one live stream without having to go pee.
Yeah.
I wonder how hard they are to get on and off, because if I got warm water circulating over my lower half, I guarantee I'm going to have to go pee.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. Sorry, I have been prank calling you. I would doubt it, but you don't have my phone number as far as I know. And the only people that have my real life phone number off of YouTube are Dax Orion, Alex, of course, and Monkey. So I don't think you've got my phone number. And Mama Minnie out in the chat. Hey, baby, we're going to see you tomorrow with the kittles. Yeah, that's another thing to look for. Anytime we get together, old Papaw here ends up hanging out with the kids. To heck with everybody else, I'm out where the kids are at.
I have an honest question for Mama Manny. I mean, Maddie can probably supply this one too, because technically you are a girl too. But every time you see Satsu's little baby, if you've seen her yet, how hard are you feeling that in your womb? Because it's hard on mine, and I haven't thought about children once in my life.
Hey, I ain't got a womb, and my heart's melted when I see it.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Every time I'm just like, and it's the worst thing is he's not the only one with a cute baby at the moment. I'm like, damn it.
Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. I'm an Asian old man. I can get anything. Well, there is that. There is that. And thank you, Shia Grath, for the donation to say horrible jokes that I can't repeat here. Love you, Shiho. Yeah, there's some of your jokes I laugh at, but I can't repeat them or won't repeat them on the air. Sorry. Yeah, Mama Minnie says, I have 4 kids biologically, and baby fever is real.
It's usually when I have baby fever, it's for puppies, because I'm like, I can handle a puppy, You feed them, you walk them, you love them, you clean up after them, and they're good. With a child, they grow up, and then they argue with you.
Funny you say that, Sean DW. He asked us my number. I think he meant 8675309 is the number he was looking for. But funnily enough, just before I invited Maddie and Jen on, and thinking about Jen, it got me thinking about the old tune by Tommy Two Tone, 8675309. And I was walking around the house. I'm the only one here. My wife's off work this week, and she's been driving over every morning and watching my youngest daughter's kids because, J Kid and his fiance are getting ready for the wedding and everything. So she's been over there watching them all day. So I've had the house to myself all day so far this week. And I was running around singing at the top of my lungs, Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? Talk about a one-hit wonder. That's the only hit I think they ever had, Tommy Two Tone. But my goodness, is there a more catchy, earwormy song that gets in your head than that one?
No.
It's just something about it that just gets in your head and you just can't get it out. And you're really not that sad about it because it's a good song.
It is a catchy song. It's just I can't. My mother used to laugh at me every once in a while because there's certain songs and there's certain gangs that drive me up a freaking wall. And there was one day she was laughing at me because I literally got stuck on one of the 2 songs I absolutely hate and can't stand, and that's Yellow Submarine. So that got stuck in my head. Every time she heard me start humming it, it was immediately followed up by, damn it.
What makes it worse is that here locally, there's an electrician company, that come out and do your electrical work and so forth. And they actually got that phone number. So on their commercials on the TV, they were parodying the song and singing. I think it was Ben Franklin, and that's what made it worse. It's Benjamin Franklin. Somebody dressed as Benjamin Franklin was singing it because it's Ben Franklin Electrical, and they were saying 8675309. I'm like, doggone it. Now I'm not going to get it out of my head.
The worst thing is they use that for so many commercials too.
Well, when that song first came out, I remember when, because I'm old, and I remember when it came out, a ton of people were complaining because that number exists in a lot of different area codes, and people were calling it. Oh my God. And I can imagine if you had that number, you were getting pretty sick of it. Same thing happened with the old AC/DC song, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, because they spout off a phone number in that song. And a lot of people were getting called for that one too.
Better song though, at least.
Wikipedia snippets has been Franklin, the $100 bill guy. Yeah, Yeah, the same. The very same. But I do that. You can ask Mama Minnie. You can ask Alex because we talk a lot behind the scenes, that you guys don't hear. And if I'm up walking around the house, I'm singing. I'll sing at the top of my lungs. Whatever song comes to mind.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing when I was at work. They used to laugh at me the last job I had because I'd get up from my desk and go to the bathroom, and I'm singing all the way there and singing all the way back. Probably singing in the bathroom because the acoustics are better in there, and I sound good. Mom Minnie says, "Wonder where my oldest daughter gets it from." Yeah, she does it too. Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, they used to have this program called PECE, where one day out of each week you got to go to like a place of business and act like you were working for them for a day. That was your day at school, was working for them for 8 hours. And it was an old-fashioned mom and pop's bookstore. And he had me alphabetizing books by author, and he was playing music. And I was humming and I was singing while I was, humming and dancing while I was arranging the books and, putting them in alphabetical order. And all of a sudden this song came on that I didn't know. So I wasn't humming and I was just standing there, just kind of putting the books up, just regular, just standing still, except for my arms. And the owner came around the corner and he goes, "What? No dancing? What happened to the singing?" I said, I don't know this song." He goes, "We got to find a station you listen to."
Yeah. I mean, I've been that way ever since I can remember. I don't remember never not being that way. It's just if I'm in my own head, like if you're walking around the house doing things and, you're kind of in your own head and doing what you do, I'm singing. It just happens. And half time I don't even realize I'm doing it. I'm just the way my brain works. And I'll be up walking around. I'll not mute my microphone, and Alex will be hearing me walking around the house singing. He says, "Dadgummit, will you quit serenading me?" Sorry. Sarah says, "Thanks, guys. Now I can't get the song out of my head. It's on repeat now." I know, right? I'm telling you, they've done the one song, and it is so catchy and so earwormy. It's incredible.
Yep.
I'm not sure there's a more earwormy song out there. We all get songs stuck in our head sometimes, but that one will do it for everybody every single time.
Oh yeah, that's like I would homeschool Paul, and one day he decided that he's going to have a little contest with me as to who could get who stuck on what earworm the longest, and he thought he was doing good, and I'm like, if you don't knock this off, you're going to find out that I have something in my arsenal that no matter how much you resist, you're going to wind up singing it. So I pulled out the That's Amore song, and I just kind of sung the chorus to it, and I stopped and I went back to doing my work, and less than 30 seconds later I heard my son. Oh, I said, "Aha, gotcha."
Foxy Veritas and Zombie Teddy says, "I missed it. What song?" The one song by Tommy Two Tone. The actual title is Jenny, but everybody knows it as 8675309. Thank you. You're welcome.
Many dopes will be heard today.
Yep. they'll be thanking me as they mutter. They're under. "Thanks a lot,
See, you guys complain, but my biggest complaint growing up was really the form of playing music in certain vehicles growing up, because there was that period where you could put multiple discs into your car.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom was very much into people like Barbara Streisand and Celine Dion. So she could put like 7 or 8 of those albums into her car, and we'd be going to Edmonton, and that's all I would have to listen to. And she would do that to my dad always.
Real quick, thank you, Havoc, for the donation. Great. Now that's never going to get out of my head. I told you. It's a secret weapon. I don't know what it is about that song, but they really hit it with that one.
I don't hate Celine Dion, Boy Pat. There's a difference between Celine Dion and then Celine Dion after like 78 hours.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, but see, I grew up in a different time. In my day, you were lucky, when I was a kid. I'm not talking about when I was a teenager, because when I was a teenager, it was a question of, are you a cassette person or an 8-track person? Because that was the question of the day. And I was a cassette person. I never did do 8 tracks. They were
I
just
remember.
too bulky for me. But when I was a kid, heck, you were lucky to have a radio in a car, because they didn't all come with a radio. And if they did, it was an AM.
Oh, yeah. I remember crap. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. Nuts. Now I'll just be quiet and curse my brain for making me forget.
So the other category to poke at is really the psychological Disney music.
Ugh.
Oh, don't.
I
If
mean-
I ever hear Let It Go ever again in my entire life.
Like I can listen to the Lion King track all day long and be happy, but I'm like, it does get stuck in your head, and I'm just like, at least I like one of them. But
I know if I wanted to annoy an entire group of people, all I had to do was go out in public in the middle of California and go zippity doo dah, zippity yay.
I've got granddaughters, folks. I've got a lot of granddaughters. Out of 10 grandkids, okay, out of 10, 7 of them are girls. So I got a lot of granddaughters. And trust me, I heard Let It Go ad nauseum for the longest time. Oh, stop it. If I hear it again, they're going to be putting me in a straitjacket, in a padded room, because TOS says, I actually joined the old fart club yesterday. Yeah? There's an old fart club? Or did you have a birthday? Yeah.
I remember my mom when Paul was little, I was living with my parents as a single mom, and my mom kept trying to encourage him to sing that god awful Barney song. So I sat down with him one day, and I helped him tweak the lyrics a bit. So the next time my mom said, "Sing Barney for Grandma Polly," Barney he went, "I love you, you love me, will you share a joint with me?" And he went, my mom yelled my name, and I started laughing. She goes, "What did you do that for?" I said, "So you will quit getting him to sing that song." She goes, "Ugh."
Yeah.
For me.
I went through that with my kids, mostly the youngest one. Was into Barney, but thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. Old man, just let it go. Hey, you don't know the pain, that you got 7 granddaughters. They all love the song, and so no matter which group you're around, somebody's singing it. Mm-hmm. And yes, Mama Minnie, this is the song that never ends.
Yeah.
My kids would get on that song and never stop, which drove me pretty nuts, but it really drove my wife nuts. And I think that's why they done it, because it just aggravated their
if it makes you feel better, Bloodwing, you can blame that one on Canada.
Well, I blame a lot on Canada, and I thank them for a lot of things. There's things I'm thankful for from Canada, like Rush, the band Rush, and Neil Young. Don't like his politics, love his music, but I blame a lot of stuff on Canada, like Justin Bieber and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to blame you for.
Jim Carrey is the biggest disappointment. I actually think he's worse than Justin Bieber, which is sad. Like, the thing is I've seen little snippets of Justin Bieber behaving better, like he's slowly improving, which to me is like, okay, well, you were a shitbag in the past. If you grow up out of it, kudos to you. But Jim Carrey's in the opposite direction, where
now the biggest thing I thank Canada for is William Shatner.
Yes.
And if you don't follow him on Twitter, folks, you got Twitter, what are you doing with your time? Because the man is in his 80s and is the consummate troll.
Yes.
It is so hilarious watching this 80-year-old guy own kids left and right. It's just amazing.
It is.
Go follow him. You'll thank me later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of him too.
Zombie Teddy trying to troll me out there. It's okay. Do you want to build a snowman? No.
My mom said the song that I would annoy her with because growing up, I was a big Sesame Street fan, was Rubber Ducky. Ernie's song when he was taking a bath. Yeah. She goes, you would sing that over and over and over again. She goes, at least let me have this moment with the Barney song. And I went, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. Trust me. I went when my youngest daughter was small. I was the one home with her in the day. My wife worked days at that point, and I worked nights, so I was at home with her because she wasn't in school yet. And since I worked nights, I needed to sleep at some point, so I would turn on the TV, turn it on the local PBS station, with all the kids shows, and then I would lay on the couch and hook my fingers in the back of her pants and fall asleep. That way, if she moved, I knew it. It woke me up. But she'd sit there and watch what was it she was all into? Barney, lamb chops. She was into kid songs, which not all of them weren't all that bad. Some of those were okay. Big Comfy Couch. Oh my gosh. She was really into that show. And, of course, the others. Yeah, that's how I would get sleep. I just kind of hook my fingers. If she had pants on that had a belt loop, I'd hook them through the belt loop. If not, I'd just stick a couple of fingers down the back of her pants just so that I would know if she got up and moved, Of course, if she decided to poop her pants, I was in trouble. But at least I knew if she moved.
Yeah, for me, growing up with my brother as kids, cartoons were in the morning. So it's usually the weekend, Sunday, Saturday, you have the cartoons. And maybe we would have a half an hour to an hour after school to watch whatever. Then after that, it was whatever Dad was watching. So I think I spent most of my time watching documentaries growing up that I have no idea I don't know what they were talking about. A lot of them were animal documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
So, thank God for the cartoons,
They had very few songs like that when I was a kid. Maddie was talking about one earlier. They had Electric Company, but I was older by the time Electric Company came out. I wasn't old, but I was in my teens, early teens maybe, when Electric Company come out. Zoom was one. Even Sesame Street, by the time it came to our market, I was in my teens, early teens. So as a little kid, I never really had it. We had Captain Kangaroo and, Timothy Church Mouse and Gumby. And that was our kid shows when I was a little kid. And yes, even Howdy Doody and Bozo. Bozo, excuse me. Don't know where that come from. Bozo the Clown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in those days, every market had their own Bozo and had their own Bozo show. It wasn't the same Bozo across the nation. They all looked the same, but it wasn't the same person playing it. Every local market.
We have one too. We have one too. We probably stole it from you, but we have one too.
Mr. Rogers, no, he was not around. Not in my market. Not when I was a little kid.
Yeah, he was around in mine. I remember the puppets and him changing shoes. And then after I grew up and out of him, somebody told me he was colorblind. And I'm like, okay, so how do you pick out his sweater?
Yeah. I, of course, know Mr. Rogers because I got kids, and he was around forever. And I actually like watching Mr. Rogers. That was the one kid show I didn't mind watching. I actually would watch it with him. I especially liked when he would take a trip to a factory that made a certain thing and show how they made the stuff, or and things like that. Yeah, but I was grown by that point. I'm aware of him because of my children. Sean DW, Canada has a bozo. Is it Trudeau?
Yes.
Oh, HR pumping stuff. Pumpkin trucker. What are you shivering for? Dude, yes, I know that Sid and Marty Krofft had to be dropping acid when they made that show and its spinoffs, but I loved it as a kid and I still love it now. I go on YouTube and watch old episodes of it all the time.
The banana splits.
Oh, I love the banana. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4.
Don't forget the monkeys. They turned that band into a TV show. I didn't miss an episode of that.
Well, that was their whole thing. They were put together to make that show to capitalize on the popularity of the Beatles at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when they put them together, not all of them were musicians. Only Michael and Peter were musicians, and yeah, David could sing. But Mickey, who played the drums, had no clue how to play the drums when he first started. He learned. Yeah, Mama Minnie says bananas in pajamas in my childhood. Oh, yeah. It's bananas in pajamas. They're coming down the stairs. Heard that a million times.
Blues Clues. All those guys. Yeah.
But one of my favorites, and this will probably get Mama Minnie going, Wishbone. I love Wishbone the dog. I love Wishbone and Ghost Rider. Yeah, they were great shows.
Mm-hmm.
Manimal
was okay. I remember Manimal. Manimal was okay. It could have been better, but it was kind of cool watching the guy transform into animals.
What are they making into a horror movie, Pat? I've talked about a lot of stuff.
Oh, hang on. I'll be back.
All right.
With my delivery.
Yep. Mama Minnie says, what's the story, Wishbone? Yeah, Wishbone was great. And so was Ghost Rider. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I was a daycare kid. So I did watch, like I said, I watched cartoons in the morning, on the weekends, in the afternoons. Sometimes we watch TV, but daycares are kind of limited on what they're allowed to show everybody just because you're still a mixed group of kids. So it was really limited to the same movies all the time. It was an excitement if you got to watch the Transformers movie.
The Banana Splits, Pat, they're making that into a horror movie? Really? I mean, seriously, the costumes those guys wore were kind of scary if you think about it, but horror movie? Interesting. Yeah, we get MeTV here to Wikipedia snippet. If I watch TV, I can't remember the last time I've actually watched a TV set. Even for my Sunday football, I watch it on my computer. That way I can put the earplugs in and my wife is none the wiser until they make a good play and I'm yelling, yes! And she's looking at me like, are you nuts? Shut up.
So how's that going? Did you guys do well? Or I think J-Kid was ranting on Twitter last night a little bit. So.
About what?
NFL.
Oh, the NFL? Yeah, well, we had a bye week this week, so we didn't play this week.
Okay.
But we certainly done very well last week, yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
But I haven't been on Twitter much the last several days. Just
you're not missing much.
No, I know. But I haven't been on there very often at all.
Yeah, right now for me it's all terror on Twitter because every time I go onto Twitter it's just more drama up here that we're gonna have to deal with down the line. So
yeah. Elwin, if it's not hockey, I can't follow it. I don't understand hockey. I've tried. I've watched it. I just don't understand the rules. I don't get it. I get the very basics of it. They're smacking that little puck around and trying to get it in the goal. But that's about all I understand about it.
It's more fun to play, in all honesty. I don't get me wrong, as a Canadian, I absolutely support people enjoying it to the best of their abilities. But my experience with hockey was when you play it, it's amazing as a game. But if you've never done that, then it's
Yeah.
it's also our football. Like you go to football, you might drink a little bit. For Canadians, it's basically our it's our football.
Mama Minnie says my buddy is listening. Well, hey, welcome, buddy. Lions Nation here. Yeah, she's up in Michigan. I can only imagine how Bub was feeling. Yeah, because the Lions are his team. They are. And Wikipedia snippet says there is a mod to put Teletubbies into the Left 4 Dead video game. Seriously?
Yes.
They're scary in and of itself. Those creepy things scared a Jesus out of me. I hate the Teletubbies.
I watched somebody that is on my Twitch team. Actually, she was streaming Left 4 Dead, and she put that mod in there. Yeah, it's if you don't think Left 4 Dead can get any more hectic, it kind of ramps up the icky factor when you have all of them things coming after you.
Oh, all the zombies look like the Teletubbies?
Yes. All the zombies look
I
like
couldn't
the
play it.
Teletubbies.
Nope. I'd have nightmares for days. Nope. Can't play it.
Yep.
Can't play it. Those things are creepy. And that baby in the sun is the creepiest freaking thing ever on TV. You can't convince me otherwise. That was just, oh Lord.
I was like, I was switching, I clicked on her stream and I'm watching, and it took me 1 or 2 seconds for me to type in the live chat, "Are you shooting Teletubbies?" And she went, "Yeah, it's a mod for Left 4 Dead." I'm like those things couldn't get any creepier.
No, I couldn't play it. Now I like Left 4 Dead, both 1 and 2. I like the format. I liked how it's kind of, meant to be like a movie.
Yeah.
They even do credits at the end of each mission.
Yeah.
And starring blah, 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 blah. And I like all that. And I used to play it a lot. It's a good game. If all you want to do is just shoot stuff, it's really good for that. Just shoot massive quantity of bullets. That's a good one for that. But Teletubbies, no, that's too creepy. Can't do it.
Yep.
Actually, the baby in the sun reminded me of this commercial that Raisin Bran used to do with the son that did the 2 scoops thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2 scoops of raisins.
And then it was ruined completely by Robot Chicken because the sun's just like killing everything.
Oh, Sheograph. Now that one I can repeat. How do you stop an argument between deaf people? Turn off the lights.
Oh. That's horrible. Funny, but horrible.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah. I used to work at a convenience store in a pretty rough neighborhood, and this couple started coming in, and this couple was deaf. Now, if you don't think they make fun of themselves all the time, you got another thing coming, because I thought at first, since she could read lips, I thought he could read lips. So I'm trying to hold a conversation with him. And she goes, "Excuse me, are you trying to, speak to him without using sign language?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That's not going to work. He's illiterate. He can't read a single word you're saying." And I just kind of stood there, and she smiled. And she goes, "It's okay. We joke on each other all the time." I went, oh, all right. So a couple of weeks later, they came in to have hot dogs and stuff. And every time he went to talk, his hands were full. After about the 3rd time he tried to respond to her, she goes, "Will you quit talking with your hands full? I can't understand a single word you're signing." And I just died laughing. I never heard anybody.
I've mentioned before on this stream that my sister, just younger than me, my oldest, I'm the oldest of 3 kids, and she's got cerebral palsy, but she's also stone deaf. She went deaf in her adult years, and it cracks me up because even her husband will do it, but people will yell at her like that helps. She reads lips very well, but they'll talk and they're yelling. And she's stone deaf. She can't hear a thing. I'm like, you do realize that doesn't help, right? You can yell all you want. And even her husband does it. I'm like, will you stop? You know that doesn't help. It just cracks me up. It's like talking with your mouth full. Yeah, kind of.
Trucker.
Yeah, dirtiest thing ever said on broadcast TV. Wally, weren't you a little hard on my beaver last night? Leave it to Beaver. Yeah. But I'm not repeating that one, Geograph. But yeah, that one's funny too. Oh, Shio.
Oh,
Oh,
horrible but funny.
yes.
Yeah. TC says, how do you sign in capitals? You don't. It's just understood that the beginning word of a sentence is capitalized. It's with sign language, it's really not necessary. Because they make it very clear that it's the beginning of a sentence or it's a proper name. It's something that needs to be capitalized. It's just understood. Anyway, and Jen, you didn't know that. Well, you had to know this coming in since you're a first time guest on this stream. It's that time where you guys are going to have to cover for old Papaw for a minute because I got to go to the bathroom.
That's cool. We can cover it. 2 girls in a stream chatting is not a hard thing.
Hey, just don't look. Just because I'm outnumbered, I'm the only guy in this stream. Don't think you can run me over with the estrogen chain. Don't think because you back me in a corner. I'm a scrappy old Papaw. I come out fighting. So I'm just warning you. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just finishing my soup. That luckily I didn't have to make noise with because all I had to do was drink it.
Feels like I ordered like rat tail combs and stuff to like do something with my hair with, and they were supposed to both get delivered at the same time. So the knock on the door was the combs. It amazes me how you can order the same shit from Amazon at the same exact time, pay for it at the same time, and they come at 2 totally different times of the day. It's like you guys just can't put it all in one box.
Like, are they coming from different places? Because that would make sense if that was the case, but
because both of them are supposed to come today, so I'm like, okay.
believe me, I was about ready. I'm about ready to send Scribe a little details on the history of what's going on in my province and why we're so pissed off. Because when you see the numbers and how badly we're being brutally raped by Canada right now, believe me.
Yeah.
It's like I've known all this stuff growing up. It's just the last 5 years, the brutality of it's been really harsh. And I'm lucky because I'm on here with a bunch of rational Canadians who are from across Canada. But the irrational ones are louder than everybody else. And that's so scary.
Same thing here.
That was this distracting part because between watching the UK and watching you guys, it's basically picking up tips wherever I can, to look for what to look for. But it's the old guys that you got to watch out for, and there's a lot of hatred directed at my province, not by everybody. So don't think, Guardians, that I'm picking on you. It's just when you see a lot of that stuff coming out, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Who are you picking on?
I'm not picking on nobody. I'm just letting them know that my thing is not really directed at them. Like, I'm not generalizing the population. But like this last week I've cried several times because yeah. Yeah. It's that feeling of like knowing that you've lost family members for no reason for a country that doesn't give shit for you, Right. So yeah. I'm feeling it. Like it's like for you guys down where you are. Like, honest to God, if you were reading what I was reading, you would be, if it was ever in one of your states, you would be at war already.
Yeah. It's like my parents who came from Cuba, I remember after, Ilhan and all that, and she started her crap. And we used to live. All of us used to live in Georgia. My dad used to work for Northwest. After 9/11, they started cutting back on the hub that they were trying to establish in Atlanta with Hartsfield International Airport. So cutting down the hub meant they either had to get rid of people or they had to relocate people. So they gave my dad, the choice of Memphis, Detroit, Minneapolis, or Seattle. Well, the 10 people that had out of the 10 people that had transferred to Seattle, I think they said 7 of them had committed suicide just because of the weather. They had already agreed that they weren't going to move to Detroit for, obvious reasons. They didn't like Memphis or the neighborhood that or surrounding Memphis. So the only option to them was Minneapolis. So the first winter, was kind of rough because my dad had to do it by himself. But fast forward to Ilhan Omar, and I'm on the phone with my mom, and I said, "How do you, how do you like that representative of yours?" Mom goes, "She ain't my representative. She's an asshole. She needs to grow a brain."
If you're still there, Kyler, have a good day at work, dude. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the rational part of me that's like, listen, our whole country has been peacekeepers for a really long time. So at the end of the day, it's just calming down and rationalizing everything. But at the same time, though, 60% of the province, 100% is ready to go. And honestly, it's for our future, really. At the end of the day, it's like, I love my country, but if it's screwing over my future generation and our economics for the next couple hundred years, that's not a responsible thing to do either. So, like, that's why these talks are so important, because if we could stay with Canada and be happy and get over our differences, I would 100% rather that, because Canada is my family too. Like you guys, when you move to the US, you become American. So when you come to Canada, like, you're Canadian. We treat you like you're a family member.
Yeah.
So when you're not feeling that, it's not as personal because it's country, but it's still personal because it's, and plus we have such a similar history. We went a different route, but we came out into the middle of nowhere, running away from Europe.
Yeah.
And it's just followed us here, and we tried. Have you ever heard of the story of Thomas Baker?
No, the only Tom Baker I can think of played Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor.
So that's a history lesson that you could go with Bear on. He might know it better than I do, because I've got most of mine from programs and things. But Thomas Baker was a part of the crowd who had the first uprising in England during Richard II's reign. And they had them in a position where they could have rearranged history. They could have eliminated the little punk. I know he was a kid, but they could have eliminated the little punk and fixed a lot of things for people that were genuinely really suffering, because we know what it was like. That the rich weren't really good people necessarily. And they were all like, well, we support our king, making excuses for why his behavior was okay, but the people behind him wasn't, and he turned around and he killed everybody. That's how it ended. That's how the story ends.
Hey, Iceman Northland. How you doing? Yeah. I'm a pretty big history nut, but that one's not ringing a bell for some reason. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, there's actually there's more than a few guys in there. Like, that whole situation, it's actually a really interesting history story, because they don't talk about it. Like, the royals don't talk about it, because back in the day, you don't really want to give your people the idea that, just so you know, you could throw these guys at any time as long as you arm yourself.
Yeah.
And this is tactics that I'm seeing everywhere that these problems are coming up. These are the same tactics. It's very much a communist thing, but when you look at it, that's what Canada's been doing for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't pretend I know a lot about Canada and its politics and so forth. Just, I'm like everybody else, just what I see on the TV, on the news and so forth.
That's why I want to tell you guys, like, it's not necessarily your concern, but like at the same time, it does trickle down to you, like the first article that I was poring over this morning was based off of Pierre's father, or sorry, Pierre Trudeau's father.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did to the oil companies over here. Basically, they wouldn't let us handle it, the business end of it, during a period where you guys had run out of oil. So you're paying like $13 during, like, I think it said like 1978 per barrel that we could have sold you for $2.50 a barrel.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I lived through the gas crunch of the 70s.
So you see what I'm saying? Like they've shot us in the kneecaps, and we can't run.
Real quick, thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. I fled commies. I don't wish that on anybody.
Believe me, Cryptic, I'll have you on one of my streams one of these days, because like I know you tell those stories all the time, but like the more people who hear it, I'm fighting for my rights right now. Is why I'm trying not to be like too hyperbole about it, but like it's been a lot of hammering the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know me, Blood. Like I'm not like this when I'm around you, or like I don't bring this kind of stuff up like this.
Right.
So
well, here in the States, we've certainly had we had a war because states seceded from the Union. After that war, they made it. It's much more difficult to do that now.
Yeah.
To secede from the Union, you have states that talk about it all the time. California comes up to California every year, that talk about it big time, but it ain't gonna happen. And if it did, most of the rest of the nation would go, okay, fine, see you.
Right?
See, that's the thing with us. Like that's the position that we see ourselves in, and it's like, I don't know how long they've been planning this, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that the people in charge of my province have had like just in case scenarios. Like, I mean, you should have those, just in case things don't work out, because if you know that this has been going on since the 70s, that group hasn't gone away, but it's always been a fringe group, really, because like I said, like if we could get our oil out to across Canada, that's what we've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, let's cheapen the oil here. Let's eliminate the other factors. Let's decrease the foreign influence, have more power over what we're doing. And then you have more control over what affects the environment too, right?
Right.
And they shot us in the knees, and then they killed our taxes, and so many people have fled my province,
Yeah.
Which means for all the seats that we've fought for over the years, we've gone from 4 seats to 34 seats in-house. Ontario has 171 and Quebec has 78, and then everybody else has like little bits, like British Columbia has 42. Nobody else is getting a say in this country.
Yeah. But hey, Americans, the Electoral College is bullcrap, right?
This is why I'm saying this to you guys. Like, this is why I wanted to come on here and say it, because like it's tooth and nail, and you're sacrificing your kids' futures because you have to save the money just to support your province and yourself and everybody around you, and then you can't even get help back or support. And I'm grateful for the guys in the chat who are supporting me and helping me and throw facts at me. For the love of God, throw me articles. I'm going to read them, even if I'm like wanting to sort of kill myself a little. Not seriously, but like.
real quick, I wanted to address something. And hey, Alex, people are talking about the likes, and I'm only showing one like. But they're talking like there's some kind of like glitch.
No, I see 44, and it says 44. What? Yeah, 3 likes. Only 3 likes. Let me refresh and see if it gets any better.
Alex, I have a very special request from you. It's very special because it sounds retarded, but every time Canada starts like following in your footsteps, can you just smack us more?
Okay, I refreshed. There's 36 likes now.
Okay, must just be on YouTube side. Have a good day of work, Alex. Have a good one.
For you, not from me. It's a very easy one. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Have a good day at work, Alex.
Yeah, apparently the likes are working. I'm only showing one, but there's people saying that they're refreshing and seeing it. I'm afraid to refresh because my old computer, you never know what's going to happen. So
the potato dump you? Nah, not like that hasn't happened before.
Only always, every day. I was playing, I've been playing some ARC single player lately, and the game for the most part, I've tweaked around. And thanks to a video link that Satsu shared with me once. I've got the settings where it plays really good and looks fairly decent on my. But I'll be playing along like last night. Those of you that have played ARC will understand. I was in my base and it was attacked by a group of allosaurs. They always run in a group, and there was 3 of them. And instead of killing them, I told all my pets to go passive, and got outside the base where they couldn't get to me. There's a little cliff there, and decided to take them all out. I'm going to tame all 3 of them. And I did. But right in the middle of it, just as I got them tamed and we're taking them back inside the base, it just shut down. No warning, no nothing. It just turned off. No error message, just turned off.
I would love it if England would send Lord Bear over so he could spank Canada. I mean, that sounds really kinky too, but
Spank Canada, spank Canada.
Yeah, he has to request for me to do my famous roar, so I'll do that real quick. So,
thank you, Jay. Well, yes, there is a problem with the like button. Those on computer are not able to like streams, but those on mobile can. Most computer users can actually watch their like disappear.
Yeah, that happened to me last night when I was watching a friend of mine stream. I tried to like it, and within a couple of seconds, the like it just disappeared like I had never clicked on it.
Well, that's racist against computer users. Not all of us are ADHD, all the device having millennials, Jeez. Some of us don't have our phone stuck 24/7, our nose stuck in the phone.
So I got my first chastised comment on BitChute the other day because I had uploaded a clip from my news thing talking about North Korea, and I couldn't help it because whenever I do North Korea, I do my Kim Jong-un impression. And somebody said, "Oh, look, some fat bee making fun of all of North Korea." I said, "I wasn't making fun of North Koreans. I was making fun of Kim Jong-un. Pay attention."
Yeah, well, yeah. And sorry, Jen, I didn't mean to interrupt your.
That's okay. It's actually good that you are, because like I said, I'm trying to I'm not trying to be hysterical over it. There's a lot of things that I'm upset about, so I'm trying to not confuse that emotion. It's like I just so you know, I did set something up with Scribe to do a series talk with a couple of different Canadians as well, to do more in-depth conversation on the perspective from different provinces. So, and I want to do like a side stream for just the Canadians to go on and talk about stuff, because like when people are going on to streams like this, it's such a good outlet,
Yeah.
And like I don't feel like I need to be this stressed. Like I don't. I have faith in the people around me that we're strong and that we're gonna be fine. It's just the lack of direction and information that is concrete that makes it really scary. You
Well,
know,
and if worse comes to worse, you can always come here.
I have
We'll,
family down there. I do have
we'll
family
welcome you with open arms.
down
Just we like people coming to our country. Just we don't like it when they try to sneak in. That's all.
I'm the same way. Like I prefer honesty. You know, if you come in telling me you've got problems, I'm more inclined to help you if I can. Like I might not be able to,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to say no if I can.
Yeah, and I'll be flat out. I don't understand Canadian politics any more than I understand British politics. I don't. To my
There's
American mind, it just doesn't make sense.
it's very similar. It's very similar because we did inherit it in a sense. And some of it's really good. It's just when it's done properly. And the thing is with a lot of people in power is you can have the perfect system, but you put one person in charge who's corrupt and it doesn't matter because they'll ruin it. But the thing is
I'll be right back. I've got a phone call. I'm sorry.
sure. But yeah, that's just we do actually have a good system. Like we're admired the world over for our system, but yet again, it's corrupt and it's not perfect. Like bringing up the electoral college, like the reason that Quebec and Ontario have the most votes is because they have the most people. I understand that, but in terms of producing the most, for the amount of people, they don't. So if you're saying that you have more say because you have more people, but you're directing all the finances that everybody is doing the work for, and it's not good for everybody. Like the guy I was talking to from Quebec was saying, they get all these subsidy payments. The Quebec law don't see any of them. They spend them on paying off companies that have failed and on migrants. They're not seeing any of it. So when they're asking for more money, like that's how the Liberals work. That's how the NDP work. They offer them a bone and they're too stupid to realize that they're not going to see it.
Hey, Vanilla, and sorry about that, folks. It was a waste of time, but I got to answer him because I never know. It was somebody congratulating me on keeping my credit cards paid off and up to date, which is not hard to do since I don't have credit cards. So, yeah.
Oh my god, that's funny.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I do want to eventually set up my own stream to do this. Like, which is why I really appreciate you bringing me on too, just because like I haven't used StreamYards before either. So now
is this your first time?
It's my first time.
It's pretty simple. It's very simple. That's one of the things I really love about it is it's easy. If you've ever used Hangouts, you'll get StreamYards in a heartbeat, just without any problem. But it also has features that Hangouts didn't have, and they're adding features all the time. So, StreamYard, if you're out there, I love you. Give me the max package for free. I'm your biggest supporter. They did offer it to me for half price for a short time because I was, one of the early people in on it. So I didn't take it because I still can't afford that either. But
yeah. And I use it on my geek streams on Sundays when I'm doing the stuff with Skep and Sage.
yeah,
yeah. So
I like it, and one of the other things I like about it is that I've mentioned before I'm having trouble using Discord. It tends to crash my laptop, so I haven't been on Discord much at all in the last few months.
Yeah,
and but in StreamYards, you can go back and go into any live stream you've had. You just can't go live with it, but you can use it as a hangout. And so when I play games with my friends, I'll just send out the link to one of my past live streams and we'll all hang out in there,
Yeah.
I like that. But Anyway, yeah, I can understand you being upset, Jen. I can understand it. Like I said, I don't understand completely Canadian politics. I don't. It doesn't make sense to my American mind. But
I mean, I don't mind sending you the article that I was going to send Scribe. I'm not saying you're going to understand it anymore, but I guarantee you'll read it and like the fumes. When you read it, picture it as your state, or at least in your country, a place in your country. It's just it's a lack of faith staying where we are right now. I'd like to stay because, like I said, coast to coast, my great uncle died with multiple Canadians across the coast. I don't want to lose that heritage. I don't want to lose that connection. And honestly, it's a pain in the ass.
yeah.
It's a pain in the ass because then you're creating a new country at that point. And it's actually scarier too because like who knows who's going to follow with us, because there are provinces that probably would.
Yeah.
But now you've got Canada on the alarm. So what are they going to do? Are they going to send in the military to stop us, or are they going to negotiate with us? And you're looking at the Liberals going, I don't know, because they're crazy. I don't know. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They could and just murder us all and be like, oh, well, it's for sovereignty and you're all just a bunch of Nazis anyway. Right? And that's scary.
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, don't get me wrong, Alberta bros know how to use a gun, but I've never had to use a gun because I never needed to. But believe me, I'm looking into it.
Just have them wrestle them to death. Like we mentioned before, stream. That's how I'm aware of where you live is wrestling. You know, the Harts, and Stu Hart was out of there. So, just put them in a wrestling hold. Make them cry, uncle. The Liberals are killing freedom of speech. Yeah, that's pretty much the world over. They're at least trying. They're trying to. Mm-hmm. Iceman Northland, just ask the U.S. and Donald Trump to annex your province into the U.S. There you go.
Not even cryptic. I wouldn't bother with the sticky shit. I'd be training the moose. Like I'm not playing these folks. I'm like, you want to play like shenanigans with us? Like, we are very much a province of very hardcore engineers. I'm not saying I'm going to go to war with people. I'd rather not do that. I'm not talking violence with my fellow Canadians. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, we'd accept you as the 51st state. Why not? That'll give us one step closer to being actually connected to Alaska. So to mainland.
It's just the talks of splitting apart. Like, you don't hear it that often, like it is right now. Yeah. Like when you know that's a fringe group a year ago is 60% right now. That's why you start a conversation, because like that's when you're like, okay, is this really a serious conversation? Because as a regular person just living here, I need to know what I'm planning for. Like, I mean, thank God my parents are both still alive. Like, my dad's not stupid. Like, I do go to him for most of my advice when it comes to like the immediate stuff, but he's 75 years old. I'm not going to have him forever. You know, I don't know if 10 years down the line, if things don't work out, if we're going to still be a part of Canada and he's not going to be here. So
yeah,
I have to pick up for it. And most of my family's either in the US or they're in Ontario. So that's another conflict of interest for me, because I don't want to lose that half of my family, or at least make it a lot more difficult to go and see them.
Elwin says, I'm in Toronto. The SJWs are killing everything here. When Chick-fil-A opened, people got beaten up just showing up for food. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, I mean, myself as an American, I look to Canada, and you know, I'm sure this is an oversimplification, but have a tendency catch myself looking at Canada, and I think of it in that terms as just being full of, leftists.
Mhm. Well, you look at the population demographic, and yeah, it would come across that way. I mean, we have them across the country, but like I said, 172 seats in Ontario as a reflection of their population. And BC is the other place where you have a heavy influx of SJWs. So like those are both our ports.
Well, that's the same thing as the tendency here in the States. It's both coasts that are extremely left, and everything in between is pretty much conservative. Which is the majority of the country, at least land-wise. The majority of the country. I get, and I can imagine it gets frustrating for you, because I know I get frustrated with people from Canada that all they know is what they see on the TV, and that's all going to be from the coasts, because that's our big population areas. Yeah. And that's not the America I know. Trust me, where I live, it's much different than that.
Yeah. I've been to Ontario, and I was in Quebec for a very short period, but I was too little to really remember it. So I won't count on that one. But it's the same there. Like all our broadcasting comes from Toronto, really. I mean, it's not to say we don't have our own in the separate cities, but our major channels are run through Toronto. So like right there is another conflict of interest, because, well, $600 million paid to our media, that went to Ontario.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Elowen says BC is super left, but Toronto is a sanctuary city, so it's getting pretty hard. Rent here, if you need a place right now, is about $1,500 a month without including utilities. That's a lot.
yeah. Yeah, it's like that here too. And I mean, and this is even after like the last 5 years of like, we are in our own recession right now because of what they've done. 4 years without a job. Not because I'm not looking.
Yeah. Well, I've been 4 years without a job too, and trust me, but my reasons are different. They're physical.
That's why I'm frustrated with it. Like, I'm an able-bodied person. I get more job offers from up north, and believe me, if I could take them, I would. But my whole family is here right now, and my senior citizen parents can't really have me leave because I'm the only one available to help them out at any given time. So I can't really leave.
Eva One says, Jen, don't worry too much. We, the U.S., just think of Canada as a colder California. We look at you disappointedly, but we still love you.
See, I appreciate.
I would agree with that.
I appreciate that. Like, I get a lot of love from you guys. Like, I come back here all the time. Like, I told my brother about, how people were helping out your daughter and how proud I was of our community.
Yeah.
I wish I could do more, but not, my situation.
Sure. Yeah.
But, he was so proud to hear that, because I told him about those nasty guys on the Twitter. And I was like, I know that's the internet. I know that's the internet. But, you still see it, and you're still hurt as a human being. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, at the time that they sent it to me, they hit me, and it was a bad, because I was still in very much, neck deep into everything that was going on. I was like, I don't need this right now. And yeah, it ticked me off. Usually I can take things I see on the internet with a grain of salt, and but that one, yeah, when I first saw those, I'm like, I really don't need this right now. Go away, or I'm going to let you have it. Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. I can't leave either, Jen. I know you're paying. Yeah. I mean, people have asked me many times, why don't you leave Indianapolis? And not that Indianapolis is that big, is that bad a play. I happen to like Indianapolis, but some people don't, and other things. I couldn't. There's no way I could move right now. half my grandkids are here, and my son and daughter, youngest daughter, Mama Minnie's up in Michigan, and my dad is still alive and here and needing care. There's no way I could move.
Yeah, Lindsay, my mom had both her knees replaced. I mean, it was a 2-year period, but like it takes a full year to really recover from that fully. They're both old. My dad's 75 and my mom is 65 right now. So I don't know how he got such a young whippersnapper, but he got lucky with that one. But they're still, they're still at the age where like even now, like I had to get a vax, which I normally don't do unless I'm out in public, just because like if I'm not needing it, I don't necessarily use it. But my parents are old, so they're like, if you're going to be interacting with us, you have to start taking them because we can't afford to catch it. And they're taking it too, but for serious reasons. My family just doesn't really die. I think that's the problem. It's like we end up with these problems that last for years because like my grandfather was the same. Like he ended up at 92 with colon cancer and lasted until 98. So
why don't you just die? No.
I mean, I'm not saying that. It's just, it's one of those things. It's actually a running gag in our family. Like my grandfather was taking bets with my grandmother, like many senior citizens do, on who was going to go first, And that's just how my family is. Like we take the piss out of each other for stuff like that all the time. But like my dad's in really good shape. Like he's had both shoulders replaced. His back is a mess. He's had to flush out his whole system. But he could outrun most punks.
Shoot, I couldn't run on a bet. No way. I mean, I'm walking a lot better after my surgery than I did before. I'm sitting right here right now looking at my cane hanging on the wall, and it's hung there since the surgery. And that's right where I need it. I want it, just on the wall and out of my hand. But I couldn't run. No, there's no way. But
yeah. It's the one lucky thing that my mom has right now, because with her it's the complete opposite. Like she is covered head to toe in arthritis. Her knees are replaced, so she's gonna get better with that. Like that's gonna improve her health overall because now she can walk again.
Well, that's the thing about Dad. He's 80, and he's in bad shape. He has rheumatoid arthritis, terribly bad, just seriously bad. You've all seen the old people with the hands that look like claws because they're so arthritic. That's Dad. Mm. And in constant pain. His mind isn't right. And I'm like, I hate myself for thinking it, but sometimes you think it'd just be better off for him if he would pass away. But
it hurts. It hurts to think that, because you love your parents and you would love it. If you could live as you are until the very end and then you just go to sleep, that would be great. But it doesn't work like that. We've stretched out the lifespan of humanity for so long that we just don't, we haven't caught up to it yet. My Oma's in the same boat. She's 86 years old. But she had a car crash a couple of years ago, and it shattered her rib cage and her hips. And she did recover, which is a miracle. Like she didn't have any infections or anything, but her mind just gone. So the last week that my mom visited her, like every day she would visit her for that week period. It took her till the end of the week for my Oma to recognize that was her daughter. And it was just like my mom, she'd go home at the end of the day and my Oma would she'd know who she was and be like, please don't go. She'd go home and come in the next day and it was like a repeat of the same thing. And from my Oma's perspective, like she even before that ever happened, she was like, please don't let me go through that. I don't want to go through that. 'Cause like it's humiliating for a lot of elderly people.
Well, my kids have already let me know in no uncertain terms that if I start to lose my mind, because dementia does run in my family. If I start to lose my mind, they're just sticking me in a home and forgetting about it. Maddie, you've been awful quiet over there. Of course,
I'm
Jen
just
and I-
listening.
Yeah,
hope
we
I
haven't
wasn't
gave you
too
much
depressing.
chance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've just been kind of listening and making sure somebody isn't barking. So
Oh, that's all right. We don't care if she barks. It's my favorite pirate dog.
she finally gave up on me. This morning she got in trouble because she was taken out twice in 2 hours and then decided, since mom was trying to put a show together and not paying attention to the baby girl, that she was going to squat right behind my chair and pee in the carpet, which I didn't realize until I turned around. Thank God I didn't step in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been in that mood today, and I'm like, really?
I seen a video yesterday, I think, somewhere, probably on Twitter, but it was a black lab. I mean, it was a black lab. It was super black. One of those Labradors, just so black they're almost blue, And I can't even remember what the video was about, but that dog was so cute because it looked like the last dog I had, Shady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want a doggy, but I can't.
Yeah,
But,
she's there are some days where she's absolutely just, she's the biggest cuddle bug. I've never had a dog that, well, I can't say that because Zeus was the same way. But she can, being smaller, she's a bigger cuddle bug because she actually fits on the bed without getting in your way when you're rolling over. Zeus used to get at the corner of the bed, and by then we had a twin bed, not a queen bed. So if you could just imagine this pit bull at the bottom corner of the bed while two grown adults are trying to sleep on like a double bed, not even a queen size bed. And it was funny because whenever we would roll around, he'd hop off the bed, wait for us to stop rustling around, and then jump back on the bed again.
well, you're aware that I sometimes we watch my youngest daughter's dog, who's a pit bull mix. She's actually been on this stream, folks. If you missed that, you missed it. But I turned on my camera and showed her. But when she stays here, while my wife's at work all night, she sleeps with me. The bad thing is that her favorite way to sleep with me is with her head across my neck. So no matter how I'm laying, she's got to cuddle up and this pit bull with her head across my throat.
That's a heavy head too.
Yeah, and of course that's dog breath right in my face.
Yeah. This one sometimes during the night I'll roll over back on my right hand side and I'll feel her shuffle and then she'll scoot up and she'll stick her head right underneath my chin. And she'll curl up into a ball that way. And I'm like, oh man.
I love me some dogs. We during the troubles that we just had in our family did spend a lot of time at my youngest daughter's house. Mm-hmm. And of course all the granddaughters are, all about Papa, and they're all up and down on my, and poor Precious, the dog that I was just talking about, is sitting there just being patient, waiting her turn. But as soon as she caught one of the girls not on my lap, there she was. Like, mine. It's my lap. Mine. Oh, I would, if I could, I would so take that dog if they wanted to get rid of her. She's a sweetheart. But
yeah, I've always been kind of a traitor when it comes to the fluffies because I like both dogs and cats.
I don't mind cats. I'm just not a cat person. I've had a few cats. My wife and I both had a couple of cats, but they were tomcats that stayed to themselves. They were outside most of the time, and just done their own thing.
Yeah, with cats are like particular dogs in that they very much have a person that they love, and they'll tolerate everybody else. Don't get me wrong, unless they're the dick cat.
Now, I've never went out on my way to have a cat. Any cat that I've ever owned just was a stray that just showed up and wouldn't leave.
They do that.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they're feeding me. I'll stay.
But I don't hate cats. Now J Kitty hates them, and my wife is allergic, so she doesn't like them. But for that reason,
I have to ask this: do the cats love J Kid? Because my dad hates cats, and they absolutely adore them.
Absolutely, and they love my wife too. The other day, a few days ago, you all remember me telling when I was over there babysitting, and the baby got poop all over the walls and all that. That day, my wife was over there, and she was trying to catch some sleep. There's the pirate dog.
Yep, there's the pirate dog.
She was trying to catch some sleep on the end of the couch. They got one of those circular couches, and she was on one end, I was on the other. And the cat crept over to right over on top of her on the back of the couch and laid down. And I'm thinking, you do realize that woman doesn't want you anywhere around her, right? I had to actually go. My wife had put her glasses up on top of the, on the back of the couch. I had to go grab them and put them somewhere else because the cat was about to knock them off. But
yeah, but this one will start barking in this. Like, it's funny because I'll walk her because, you got to take your dogs out for walks and stuff. And she'll want to say hello to everybody. She'll try and get to everybody. And then you have some people that look at me that'll stand there and that'll let her, sniff them and let them pet her. And then there's other people that will take a wide berth. One lady literally looked at me and goes, I'm afraid of dogs. And the first thought in my head was, she's 12 pounds. What's she going to do? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get deliveries and stuff. And we're like, hold on, I got to put the dog up. One guy literally said, oh, I thought it's because you had a big dog. I said, no. She's not door trained yet. So I have to either put her in another room or pick her up. Otherwise, she will follow you all the way to your car.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have anything particularly against cats. I'm just not a cat person. I'll deal with it when I'm over at my daughter's house, and if the cat comes up on my lap, I'll give it a little scratch, or something like that, But I am a dog person. I love me some dogs.
Yeah. So Duck Dog asked me what kind of Scandinavian I am, and I have to respond. I'm of Scottish descent, therefore I'm a leftover Duck Dog. I'm one of the ones that they didn't kidnap.
I'm a typical American. I'm a Heinz 57. There's a little bit of everything in there if you look hard enough. Yeah, and I think a vast majority of our Americans are like that.
Oma is German, so it probably does take a little bit of language tips from Scandinavia. So that's where he's confused. Yeah, my mom's side of the family. I'm a weird one because I'm both. I'm a mix of both because my dad's. If I go by my dad's side of the family, I'm an 8th generation. If I go by my mom's side of the family, I'm a 1st generation because she came over when she was 3. This was after World War II. So it was I think it was maybe 8 years afterwards. And it wasn't a pretty time for my grandmother either, speaking German in Canada. Right after that. So,
yeah, like I said, I'm a typical American Heinz 57. On my mom's dad's side is German Jew, and on her mom's side is Scottish and Irish, and on my dad's mom's side is Cherokee Indian, and I'm not sure what's on his dad's side because he was never in my life because he's a piece of crap, but. Yeah, a little bit of everything in there.
I'm mostly Latin American and Hispanic with a little bit of Asian stuck in there somewhere, and I think some French way in there somewhere. And then, I kind of laugh because I'm a Heinz 57. Ronan is 3/4 Cherokee and 1/4 Scottish, and so. Every time our son exhibits something that's, every time he acts like a stubborn little shit, we look at each other and go, well, he got it honest.
Yeah. I hate that I actually do have Cherokee blood in me because everybody is so skeptical because everybody claims it. So when you say it and it's actually true, nobody believes you. Like, yeah, right. Everybody's Cherokee.
Yeah.
It's true. My great grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. So, it doesn't give me a lot, of that blood, but it is there. Along with a lot of other things. And then on top of that, my last name, come to find out, origin is in Lapland of all places.
All over the place.
So
Yeah. We've got a French name. If my mom were to sit there and say her whole name with all of the names added in, including her middle name that she had taken off when she came to America for some reason, her name would the last three names would be Guillén Betancourt Rodriguez. And when she said that to somebody one time, she goes, "How do you spell Guillén? It's Guillen. That doesn't sound Spanish." Mom goes, "Neither does a Betancourt. That's actually French."
yeah.
Don't ask me how that got in there, but it's there.
Jay Wolf and Sheargrass got more than four Hannes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warren. Yeah, I wished I knew more about that side of my family. I tried at one point. I tried to find out, but I very quickly hit a brick wall because they didn't keep a lot of records, and back in the old days, and so I don't know anything about my Cherokee heritage, which is a shame. I wished I did. I've always been interested, but
See, that stuff I can't really claim on my side because, like, with me, I'm adopted. So everything that my parents have, like, I mean, I still claim it because it's still mine.
right.
But in terms of the genetics, I'm probably whiter than Elizabeth Warren. If I look at myself, like, everything just screams so much white. I'm not saying that there probably isn't something in there,
Well,
but
you wouldn't see it if you were to look at me. I mean, I'm pretty white, although my skin naturally has a bit of an olive tone to it, which is very light olive tone. It's not white. My wife is super white. She's so white she'll blind you when she walks out in the sun. But there are some facial features that if you look close enough, you can tell. Yeah, there might be a little bit in there. But
now my dad and my aunt on the other side of the family, it's one of those unspoken conversations that we don't have that I'm sure my dad knows the answer to because he's had his blood checked for it.
yeah.
But we're pretty sure that he and my aunt probably do have a little bit of native blood, which would make them Blackfoot.
Yeah.
But it's not something that they're ashamed of. It's more like, well, I'm not really going to claim that because in Canada, like, people think that you're trying to claim stuff.
Right.
And he's not about to do that. Like, it's one thing to, like, I'd like to claim my heritage and just learn about it. And a lot of people use it as an excuse to get government money.
Uh-huh.
So
right. Well, I've since my son-in-law who passed was a Apache Indian, a lot of people have been telling me to get my daughter to check into seeing if the tribe will help her out since her children, are half. And
she should do that anyway, just because they might want a little bit of support too.
yeah.
Because there's things that they might not know that they would have answers to.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, you would want to do that anyway for medical.
Mm-hmm.
But I would support that. And I mean, it might be good for her too. Like, the natives are not evil people. Like, if she comes in suffering with a story like that, I guarantee, I know you know this too.
Yeah.
They'll bring her in,
Yeah.
Yeah, what Elwin said.
Yeah, and is the same is very much true here in the States. That there are benefits and so forth available to natives that aren't necessarily available to anyone else. You just have to prove a certain amount of genetics of blood to qualify. And her children would definitely qualify since they're half. A couple of them don't look like it because they're blonder than blonde. Two of them are blonde, but they are half.
I mean, one of these days, maybe I'll do something like that. But like being adopted as I am, it was one of those things where in the back of my mind, I don't want to bother my birth mother. You know, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to meet her. It's just for me, I growing up, I would hear so many different stories from people warning me about it.
Mm-hmm.
That like sometimes they don't really necessarily want to talk to you because they already have a family. And sometimes people go to meet their family because they've got this like stupid story in their head that they're going home to England, you know? That's not where I am. For me, it's just I want her, like if I ever were to meet my birth mother, it's more I'd like her to know that my parents did do a good job. Like every mistake I've had in my life is usually my fault. Sometimes there's outsider factors to it too, but I don't want to meet someone that I'm related to and make her feel like she made a poor choice.
Right.
Because I don't think she did. And I appreciate that she didn't abort me.
Yeah. We're kind of glad of that. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a weird thing, you know. Like I'd like to get the blood test done. Like I know what blood type I am for like health purposes, but you know they put that information out there, and you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to approach me through it, but
yeah, I know what blood type I am too, and unfortunately, so does every medical facility in the area because I'm a universal donor.
Oh,
Very much in demand on blood drives because anyone can take my blood.
yeah, my mom's the same way.
on a positive note, I lost 45 pounds since last May. Yay!
Hey, good for you. Good for
Cool.
you. Yeah. You lost it, and I think I found it. So, yeah.
I still have a lot more to do, but it's just I am one of those girls who can tell you that yes, the womb does affect the weight loss, but if you gain the weight, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I was for a while there walking in the morning and walking in the evening, but somebody ate my tennis shoes. I'm not mentioning her name, but she's looking out the window right now and she only has one eye. I'm not no. She won't be named.
A cigar chomping penguin Freudian slip there, Bloodwing. I'm not sure what was the Freudian slip. You'll have to, because I didn't catch it.
Thing.
Huh? Oh, universal donor.
Yeah. I think. I'm just guessing.
I don't know. When it was first found out that I was, because I had given blood, they were having a blood drive at where I worked at the time. Oh my gosh. For years afterwards, every month, like clockwork, they were calling me up. They're
vampires, aren't they?
Oh, I'm like, I don't mind helping out, but I don't want to give will you leave me alone, please?
I had a different problem because I'm AB positive, which is actually very greedy. I can accept blood from any of you guys, but you know, if you accept my blood, I poison you.
Yeah.
But it's still a rare kind of blood, so a lot of AB negative kind of wants for it. So yeah, it was every week they were calling me, and I was like, listen, if you guys want to schedule something where I come in every 3 months, I'll do that happily. But if you're going to just stalk me like a creepy vampire, I'm going to run away from that.
Cigar chomping penguin says you said universal boner. I don't think I did.
No, you didn't.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. I think that's what you heard. But if I did, yeah, I guess. Trust me, at my age, a boner is not something that's too high on your mind.
Well, it's like my mom will call me periodically. I'm probably going to wind up having to call her either today or tomorrow and talk to her for a little bit. And then inevitably she'll tell me, because she's been going to the doctor and so is Dad, you know, get regular checkups and stuff. And in the course of the conversation, she will tell me about their sex life. And the thought in my head is like, why are you telling me this? I've told you several times that I don't need the visual. I know how I got here. I know what it takes to make a baby. Why do you keep talking to me about whether or not, what's the bedroom and you and Dad? I don't need to know that.
Oh,
No.
you should have had my mom. My mom, nothing was off limits. Nothing. And that's why I'm very much the same way now. I'll talk about things that some people like. You really shouldn't talk about that in public, and probably why I still find farts and poop jokes funny. And they always will
You
be.
just mention them and I snicker.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. But mom would, talk to me about her sex life with Dad, and and like, Mom, I really don't want to know this.
Right?
I don't want. I mean, not going into incredible detail, but enough that you're going, Mom, I don't want to know this. I don't want to know that my dad's a freak. Okay.
Right? Like the first time my mom mentioned it to me, she was like, she told me, and I'm like, I really don't need to know. And I heard her giggle, and a little bit later on down the line, when Dad started having to need like blood pressure medication, it was just like, about a year and a half later of her telling me on and off how they're doing in every aspect of their life. And all of a sudden on the phone was, I've got it. We figured it out. We have to wait for his blood pressure medicine to like completely come out of his system, and then it's good. Mom, I don't need to know this. This is information that I need
They're
to
doing
know.
it on purpose. You do know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I do it to my kids all the time.
Like my dad will deliberately wait until it's like a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner, and he'll wait until like my brother says something stupid, and then he'll just turn to my aunt, which is just as horrifying because she doesn't want to hear it either, and my mom, and he'll just start talking about stuff, and my brother's face is so classic. Like I'll start laughing because that's how I deal with horror, but he'll start gagging.
I do it to my kids all the time. Dad, we don't want to know that.
Like this
What?
morning.
Where do you think you come from? You think
Right.
Dad's a prude? Come on.
I'm like repressing at 9.
Elwin, and that's odd for me because Elwin says parents were born in very early 1940s, so sex is 100% off limits as a topic. My dad was born in 39. My mom was born in 42. Now, Dad, no way he's talking about it. He would be absolutely horrified. But Mom, nothing was ever off limits. I've told the story before on the difference between Mom and Dad on things like that. When I was a kid living at home, and Dad would be in the bathroom taking a dump, unfortunately in our house, you could hear every sound, every grunt, every fart, every plop, everything. And Dad struggled some because he had hemorrhoids in those days really bad. So, he'd just be going to town, and we're all sitting in the front room just dying laughing till the tears are coming out of our eyes, because we're just dying, and then try to straighten up so he wouldn't know we were laughing at him when he'd come out, but he'd know because, our eyes are all watery and faces are red from laughing. And he would just be horrified because it would embarrass him. But Mom, no, not so much.
It was like this morning, the news show was going good. Then we get to the science and health section where we're talking about the fact that black holes actually help shrink dwarf galaxies. And then in the article, there was a point where the dwarf galaxies that congregate around these black holes, the black hole emanates a gaseous wind. Did you not? That was in the article. And both me and my co-host Merlin started cracking up laughing because I couldn't help it. I went, space farts. They have space farts, and that was it. we couldn't concentrate on anything else after that.
And my wife's a lot like my dad, but my kids are like me. So we'll sit around and fart and belch and what have you, as long as we're not in public. Come on. And she's all like, well, you guys stop it. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. My wife is the kind that tries to act like women don't fart, Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yes,
I sleep with you. I know you fart. I've just always, and I was raised like this, that as long as I'm in my own home, why do I got to be ashamed of it? Everybody does it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Pete's sake.
Lindsay, I was 6 and I got a little too curious for my own good. Took my key from my diary, unlocked the door when they were in the middle of it, and I shut the door really quick. And then I heard my dad from the other side of the room said, "Marta, I thought you locked the door." And without thinking, I opened the door, locked it, and shut it again. And then years later, I'm in middle school. I have friends over. I have a friend over for the weekend, and we're hearing, and my friend's like, "Are they?" Yeah, let me turn up the volume. Hopefully, we can drown it out. I had to convince my mom, "You guys need new box springs. I swear to God, you guys need new box springs." "No, we don't." "Okay, Mom. Yeah, sit down here on the couch. I'll be right back." I went upstairs and just kind of jumped on the bed a little bit. And she came back downstairs. I came back downstairs. She goes, "You're right. We do need new box springs." I said, "Yes, it's rather embarrassing when I have friends over and the bed springs are squeaking." And that's when she tried to play it off. "Oh, that's your father getting comfortable in the bed." For 20 minutes to a half an hour, Mom? I'm in middle school. I don't think so.
Yeah. Cynical Lizzie says, my mom worked a lot, so I was raised by my dad and older brother. I had no shame in farting and belching like they did. My daughter, Mama Minnie, that was in the chat, is probably one of the loudest belchers you'll ever hear. She can literally hurt your ears with a belch. Big. Shio says, what's more fun than a Canadian microwave? A Dutch oven. You know, the first time that I found out what a Dutch oven was, I was about 10, 11 years old. I was spending the night with my grandmother, my mom's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up late, because I had found my uncle's, because I was staying in my uncle's old room, and I had found his stash of Mad magazines. So I was reading through old Mad magazines. I was up late, and all of a sudden I hear my grandmother yell out, "Francis!" And I hear a great big thump. And then I heard him laugh, and he laughs like Muttley, So I asked him what was going on, what happened. He gave my grandmother a Dutch oven, and she kicked him out of bed. I had no idea what one was.
Our bedrooms were catty cornered. My wall to my bedroom led to their closet. So if they were a little loud, I could hear it. And then all of a sudden, I thought I heard a noise. So I was in my room reading a book. And then the next thing I know, I hear my mom, "If you fan those fucking covers, I am going to wallop you one."
Yeah, my wife tries to act all innocent. I think she holds them in until she sleeps, because you walk in the bedroom after she's been asleep for a while. You're like, "Oh my God." Ah!
See, it's the people with an allergic reaction to fart. My mom loves peanut butter, but what it does to her system will cause one fart to fill the whole house. So our house is like technically 4 layers because it's a double basement. So my dad will be in the basement, my mom will be up in the kitchen, and she will let one go, and he can smell it all the way in the basement.
Jeez.
Oh, Lord.
Holy crap. Oh my God.
Mine are very loud. My wife gets on me all the time. "Can't you do that quietly?" No. If I could, don't you think I would?
I mean, does she really want you to have a conversation with your own butt? Can you please not fart that loud? My wife is complaining.
I'm sorry, but I can't do the squeakers. Mine come out very loud and obnoxious. They don't generally stink that bad. Not usually, sometimes, sure. And come on, is there anything funnier than stinking your own self out with your own fart? Now, come on. That's just the height of comedy right there.
There's one
I'm going to admit something embarrassing, but my farts sound like somebody's knocking on the door.
Oh my God.
There's been times where I've stood next to my boss on a smoke break, farted, and he's been like, "Is somebody knocking on the window?"
There was we were in, I think it was English class, and this kid in the back of the room We heard him fart. The teacher didn't. She was in the middle of explaining the lesson. And I don't know. We called it the epic Olympic grade creeper because nobody smelled this. So it had to have clung to the floor until it got to the teacher, and that's when the cloud lifted because all of us were fine. And then we heard the teacher, and this is where, oh my God, she went and opened the door
Now,
to the classroom.
I've told this story before on the stream. I know I have, but some of you may not have been there when I told it. So when I was 18, I had a friend whose name was Patrick, and Patrick was blind. And there was no question that Patrick was blind because his eyes had been surgically removed.
Right.
And he sometimes lived with us. I lived in a house full of a bunch of hippies, bunch of dope smokers. We all shared this house, you know. It was fresh out of high school. It was my first time away from home, and that's what it was. And sometimes he would stay there. And Patrick was a character. He was a big character, and he could take a joke. I joked with him all the time. I'd be out in public. I'd drive him to where he needed to go all the time, and people would see him, and he's obviously blind, and he didn't wear dark glasses, so you could see his eyelids, you know, and obviously didn't have any eyes. He refused to wear sunglasses, but he'd be, and I'd just hand him the keys. Your turn to drive, Patrick. He'd be like, okay. And people are like looking at us like, what? But one time I took him to the grocery store. He wanted to go get some beer. He drank old nasty old Stroh's beer. And we were at the grocery store and waiting in line to pay for it. And you know, he's got his hand out on my shoulder, you know, so he can follow me around. You know, if you've ever experienced with blind people, that's one of the ways they prefer to get around in a place that's unfamiliar. They'll just put their hand on your shoulder and follow you. And all of a sudden, everybody in line, including the cashier, is just making this god awful face. You know, they're just going like, oh. And then it hit my nose. And I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And I turned around. I was going to ask Patrick if he smelled it, and he's got the biggest smile on his face. And I said, Patrick, did you fart? And with the biggest smile, he said, yes, I did. Giving that blind head shake, you know, back and forth. Yes, I did. I was like, oh my God.
We had an incident like that in Miami when my grandmother was still around. We all went down there for Thanksgiving, and there was a group of us after dinner. We all had to get in two groups, all the children and then all the parents. The children's, you know, group picture was fine. Then you had to do the parents. The parents had to have 2 shots because apparently mom's 2 brothers were being pains in the butts, according to mom. And then all of a sudden, right in the middle, as they clicked the picture for the second group shot for the adults, I saw a couple of expressions that only happen when somebody farts in a tightly knit group. I didn't say anything. So after they heard the click and shutter, everybody went to scatter, and my Aunt Millie looked at my Uncle Joe and went, that was you. Uncle Joe goes, no, it wasn't. How'd you know it was me? And she goes, every fart has a distinctive DNA signature, and that one had your name all over it, Joe.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing about me. I can't fart quiet. I can't. Even if I'm in public, I struggle to hold it back, and it still comes out. Blah, you know. And so you know when I did it, you know, there's warning. Like, but because I just can't do that. I don't know how people do it. How do you fart quiet? Because I have never learned.
Oh, geez, you.
Farts aren't the only reason Jewish girls won't eat out the gas factory. Okay. Okay, Shio. Okay. Well, we're almost at the end of the stream, and we're actually close enough for me to start giving my thanks if I can quit belching long enough to do so. Thank you, chat, for showing up. Thank you for supporting the stream with all the things that you do, and especially today with all the likes that I can't see. And thank you for all your support. I've said it many times before, but I really mean it, and I'll just keep saying it. Thank you for because this channel just could not exist without you. It just couldn't happen.
Nope.
So I consider this channel yours, not mine. It just has my name on it. It's yours.
Well, we all love and appreciate you, Blood. Like, even just bringing me on. Like I said before, I wasn't initially going to even ask because I like listening to you guys. Like, I like joking in the chat, but.
Well, I tried, as I've always, and I think I've shown, I try to interact with the chat and all that. Now, there's some people, if you were just some rando that I didn't know or only knew from the chat and wanted to come on, I might say no.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going to get. And I have been on streams where some rando's been pulled on and it's a disaster, but I do know you, Jen, and there's absolutely no problem whatsoever. So anytime, just ask.
No, I appreciate it.
Maddie, thank you for coming on such short notice. I'm sorry about that, but I got distracted and carried away with gaming. But anything you want to shout out?
I'm going to stick it in the chat. That is the link to the new video that I have on my House of Geek channel where I took a bullet for all of you guys and watched the pilot for Batwoman.
You do a good service.
Yeah, better you than me, because I can only imagine. I tried to muscle my way through Supergirl, because it's connected to the Arrowverse and they do have crossovers, and it's not easy.
I'm going to do everybody a disservice and say, one of these days they're going to remake Alien and they're going to remake the main character a lesbian, and she's going to be black. And they're going to be like, oh, she's the strongest female on the planet.
Yeah.
Just saying, like, it's like every female is now that.
Yeah. Well, it's like my whole thing was I did and at first I did like a supposed deep dive, and then somebody challenged me to read the comic, which I have been reading the comic. So I will tell people, read the comic because the show sucks. The comic's actually good. The show sucks. Oh my God. Much booze is going to be consumed.
And thank you, Jen, for coming on. You are welcome. Anything that you want to support or shout out, or?
So like I said earlier, I am working with Scribe right now. So we are doing a series on the stuff that's going on up here. I've introduced him to a couple people. Sora Luna, he kind of knew from the chat anyway. And she's their super sweetheart. And I introduced him to a Quebecois who is conservative, which is kind of like a unicorn on our planet. And I wanted to introduce him because, like, there's things about Quebec that you will never hear from them because they won't be honest with you ever. But he's flat out come out and said, this is what they're doing, this is what's going on, and yeah. So I would say, if anything, I would follow Scribe. I am going to try to do my own little thing because, like, even just jumping on here, like, the therapeutic feeling I'm getting from just getting things out, and hearing responses from people in the chat who are just like, yeah, we're seeing it too. It makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah. And that's more helpful. I'd rather get myself to the place where I can be more helpful than just be like spurging like the left.
Well, yeah. Well, but thank you. And now, as for me, the next Redneck Radio will be Thursday at the same time, 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Time's going to change pretty quick. Sometime this month, I think. So we got to be on the lookout for that. I'm not real sure about Redneck Trek yet. Depends on whether Star Trek Online gets their act together and gets that mission fixed, which I'll probably be checking out tomorrow evening. But
you are feeling better though, right? Because last week you were pretty sick. So
well, I was just really tired. I'm anemic, and my white blood count is very down. The doctor's looking into it, and they're kind of concerned about it, but they're saying it can be caused by my medication that I already take. So a side effect of that is being very tired sometimes, and that's what happened. I was just extremely tired. Just didn't have the energy to even look at the screen.
no worries. Take care of yourself, Blood, because we'd like to watch a million more Redneck Trek
Well,
videos.
good. And I'm thankful for everybody that does seem to enjoy it. You know, it wasn't even a year ago I would have never imagined having a stream even halfway as popular as this one seems to be. So thank you to everybody.
One last joke, though. I'm just saying that you didn't. I'm pretty sure you snickered at my joke during your last one, but I did call you out. I was like, just so you know, as a redneck in space, guaranteed there's a redneck kid somewhere who's trying to fart on his phaser while he's trying to shoot it.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I might have to turn that into a bit. Oh, BJ, you know, lighting his farts with the phaser. Hey, might have to. Don't be surprised if it finds its way in there. But thanks everybody. It is that time. It's a little bit past time, and so it's time for us. No. It's time for us to get out of here. And so a last round of thank yous. But as always, get out of my yard.